Good morning, everyone. It is early March 2021. Still happening. I'm in Northern California, just north of Sacramento, out in the cut, kind of farm country. I did a bunch of research on solar, pool, pump, off-grid setups, and I decided to build my own. So there's not a whole lot of information out there, so I figured this video will just be one more to add to the collection if someone's looking to try to go full solar with your pool pump. I got some panels. I bought these off Craigslist about 2-3 years ago for about $100 a piece. I think they're like 200 watt panels. They're from a solar startup company that went upside down, I guess. I picked up about 10 of these things or so I had plenty to play with. I did some in-ground system. I'll show you how I did that using used materials, trying to keep it on the cheap. And then there should be a 48 volt system. Roughly, I got these two panels tied to these two panels, go together, then they run over to the pump, and I'll show you all the wiring and all that wonderful stuff. All right, so let's get at it. So first off, we got the panels. Yay, panels. Let's go underneath and take a look at what we got here. Oh, all right. I don't know if you can see this. I used super strut, unistrut. I used two pieces, actually welded them together because I had to get the length. So I got two here, two on this side. And then for the actual mount system, you see there's little cuts here in the middle. So what I used was some old fencing, cattle fencing, whatever I could get. Well, whatever I had laying around because I'm cheap like that. Again, there's another one. It was like a 16-foot panel. I took that and I cut it down, stunk it in the ground, concrete, the whole 9 yards. Add a little more of the super strut to build my board back for the cutoff switch. You can see this extra wires. I ran some extra wire. This is actually going to be power coming from where the pool pump was, or is, I guess. So I can actually have a power outlet out here. This is separate from the solar system. So I have the first two panels. Oh yeah, I'll get you a better picture of the sticker, wherever it's at. Oh, this is annoying. Whatever, it's around here somewhere. Anyways, I'll post one. It's super annoying. So they run in to this disconnect box. This disconnect box is overkill. I also had it laying around. I didn't feel like going to Home Depot or Lowe's and buying one. But literally, it comes in two wires. Let's get close up with that. The negative and positive, negative and positives. It's got a major kill switch. I also added a ground wire. It's 40 volts. They don't technically have a ground wire because the ground is ground. But I got one here, and I ran it down into one of these grounding rods, like you have at your house, with a wire, just in case. And I ran that wire also in the conduit all the way over to the pool pump. So let's go take a look at the trench section. All right, so this is the trench section. We have the conduit coming out, goes down into here, and it trenches. I got about 100 feet. I use 6-gauge wire to do this. If you got a trencher, that'd be a lot better than digging this by hand. Luckily, I had use of a mini excavator to dig this whole trench. Along the way, you run into issues like a broken water pipe for a sprinkler head. That was super fun. Runs along. I'm also going to run a couple extra pipes because I'm going to run some other pipes in here since I had to tear up my driveway to make this happen. So that's super cool. And that runs over, bang, bang, right over to the pool pump area. Yeah, my filter's old. It's super old. It's whatever. Still works. DE. So that's fairly simple, straightforward. Just trench it all the way back to the panels. Okay, so the power, the 48 volts, runs in this conduit line. It comes into this big box here, which it pretty much comes in, loops around, comes back out, and goes into the, I'll show you here, get close, well, the power inverter. So this is one of the brushless DC motors. It goes panel to the inverter to the pump. No batteries, no 240 volts, no 120 volts, just straight solar panel, inverter, pump. It actually works pretty decently. So this is the pump. It runs off the 48 volts. It's a 500 watt pump. My panels being 200 watts a piece, rated, whatever. So that's roughly 800 watts. I figure this thing only pulls 5, so I should have more than enough power to run this thing halfway early in the morning, all through the day, towards halfway in the afternoon. So it actually works pretty good at this point. Even though I got 2 shadows on the panels, it's still spinning this pump. So the pump I got on Amazon, I think I paid roughly 500 bucks for it, plus tax. I think it was free shipping. I'll post a pic of that also, so you guys kind of see what that is. And then with this setup, the inlets, it comes out of the ground, the inlets tee off. One goes to the new pump, one goes to the old pump. I kept the old pump in case the solar one goes down, or something happens, or I need to do like a heavy filtration day or something, shopping the pool, doing whatever. So that tees off, that goes to both. When it comes out of both, it goes to these check valves. I bought these check valves also on eBay. This is all 1.5 PVC pipe to a check valve. So when this one's running, the valve opens up and that valve stays shut, and vice versa. If that one runs, this one stays shut and that one opens up, and they both come and go over to the filtration system. So it actually works pretty well. I'm halfway impressed at this point. I've had it on for about a week or so. I'm going to do an update later this, probably August or so, mid-late summer, to see how it's been working all summer, make sure it's filtering enough, keep the pool clean, whole 9 yards. So I'm going to snap some pics of the parts here and go from there. So I wanted to talk a little more about mounting the panels. This was one of the biggest, second biggest hurdle of trying to do some type of solar array. First hurdle was, do the panels meet the power needs of the solar pool pump? I think these are, what they say, they're max. Max voltage of like 25.8, open voltage of like 30, so I figured 25.8 is close to 24. 24 times 2 is 48. So 2 panels together in series should make 48 volts. Well, actually, we're gonna make more than 48 volts. It'll make up to 60 volts with no load. So put a load on that, pulls it back down close to the 48, and then you times that by 2. So then you got all the wattage, hopefully, and all the amps and all the voltage to power that 500 watt 48 volt pool pump. They made a 60 volt version of that pool pump, and then if these are open voltage 60, I don't think it would have worked. I'm not super smart at all this. It's all DIY. I'm just kind of winging it half the time, hoping it works. And actually this one worked out pretty good. So back to the mounts for the solar panels. You can buy the fancy aluminum stuff online. It's kind of pricey. It's one of the, I feel it's one of the big costs, one of the major costs of solar panels. So I just got super strut. I went down to Home Depot. I think it was like 21 or 24 bucks a stick. So I got 4 sticks because I needed like 12 feet to fit these 4 panels. And then so I just welded them side by side, and I cut a section off, which is this section here of about 28 inches, so I can mount a piece of wood and mount my breaker box. So I got, a few inches at the top and a couple inches at the bottom left over. It's fine. It's galvanized, not supposed to rust, or it's gonna rust, but very minimally. It'll last the life of by the time I sell this place. So yeah, super strut, and then I use the 3/8, the nuts that go for strut, the unistrut or super strut nuts, and I bought, I think it's 3-inch galvanized bolts. And then Superstrut makes these square plates also, and so between the panels I got a bolt with a square plate. It goes through to the nut on the inside and it holds down quite nicely. I had to custom build, I've had a piece of aluminum, because if you got a Superstrut and a plate and a bolt and only one side, it's going to go like that. So I had to build a little block on this side to hold the tops and the bottoms of the panel. So that actually worked out pretty well. So it's $100 in Unistrut, probably another 20 something bucks in, well, that's probably like 30 bucks in bolts and the nuts and all the little odds and ends. And then I bought some galvanized U-bolts for I think this pipe's inch and 5/8, and I just used galvanized U-bolts and bolted it to the pipe. These pipes are actually fence, cattle fence, and they were 16 feet long. I did the measurement to try and get my angle correct. I think I'm at 25 degrees. A more summertime degree for this, where I'm at, is closer to 21 or 22, I think. But 25 is close enough. And so then I just took a power bandsaw, porta bandsaw, and I cut everything out. You can see I cut pieces here, and then stabbed it 24 inches into the ground and cemented it in on both sides. I'm probably going to add one more strut to give it a little more. It's actually pretty stable. It could be a little bit more stable, but it's not too bad. So the ground mount system, it wasn't too shabby. You could get away with under 200 bucks DIY ground mount system yourself. That's including the concrete. If you can come up with some cheap to free poles, you don't have to buy them. Your disconnect box is going to cost a little bit. And then now let's move on to the wiring. The wiring, I use 6-gauge wiring, two runs of it, and I got it on eBay. The wiring was roughly 64 bucks plus tax per 100 foot. So I got $125 in 6-gauge wire, and then I ran a 14-gauge ground wire also through the conduit, another 100 feet. I think that's like another 20 or 30 bucks for that, plus the conduit, all the conduit and fittings. I think I'm into it less than 100 bucks. So there's another almost 300 bucks to get the power over to the pool pump. So then you get to the pool pump, and now you're in the pool pump. I got on Amazon, like I said, about 500 bucks ish, and that's plus tax. I think the shipping was free, so there's another 500 on that. Then all the fittings for the PVC, because I had to remodify my whole setup. It's actually cheaper than I thought. I'm under 50 bucks in plastic fittings, and I got to take some back that I didn't use at Home Depot. The valves, those one-way check valves, I think they were 25 or 35 bucks a piece. I don't exactly remember, but you got to have 2 of those. And miscellaneous wiring things like liquid tight connectors and a couple other things, and make everything come together. So it's actually more expensive than I thought it was going to be, but it's cheaper than paying somebody else to do it. All right, moving on. All right, so kind of a recap on what it cost me to do this, and I guess a timeline. I guess I could do a timeline too, and my thoughts on it. So to do an off-grid solar pool pump, strictly solar panel to an inverter to a pump, not connected to the house, not connected to those telephone poles up there. So when the power goes out, someone runs into a pole, knocks out the power, my pool pump still keeps on running. It's cost me between $1,300 and $1,500 to do this whole system. I saw the pool pump on Amazon. It was like 500 bucks. It's like, this is gonna be cheap, $500. Let's do it. I'll be able to do this for like 8, in my brain. But when you actually put everything together, the ground mount system here was roughly about 200 bucks. That's with a Superstrut that's using free cattle fencing that I cut up with a porta bandsaw. Buying the bolts and the little things to clamp everything together. Panels, again, about 100 bucks a piece. There's roughly $400 there in panels alone. Panel wiring, it's the MC4. I had to go from Tyco to MC4, so I had to buy some adapters. And then MC4, I got the 2-to-1 splitters. Had to buy a couple extension pieces so I can actually run them into the disconnect box, the box I got for free. If you got that laying around, great. If not, I think they're like less than 20 bucks on Home Depot for like a little one. The 6-gauge wiring, I had to buy 200 feet, 100 feet of black and 100 feet of white, and then also bought 100 feet of a green ground wire, the grounding rod, and then ran all that plus the conduit. It's only about a 30-something foot shot between panels to pump, but I had to go a roundabout way. And it actually, so I bought 100 foot and I used 90 feet, so I got a 90-foot run of that. The conduit, like $100 in conduit. The wire was 150, 60, 70 bucks just for the wire by itself. And I had to go 6 gauge because of what I read online. Because of the length of the run, you need a bigger wire. So I decided on the air of caution and went with 6 gauge instead of like 8 or 10. And then you get over there to the pool pump. You got all your fittings. You got your one-way check valves. Don't forget the PVC glue. 2 bottles is what I went through because I actually left one outside and it got hard accidentally in the middle of the whole project. Mounting the pool pump's easy. It just sat on the concrete. It's mainly just hooking the pipes up. The wiring, it goes into a box and it comes out. I bought a 3/4 inch whip. They come, you can get a Home Depot, the liquid tight, so I can go from the box into the inverter, and then the inverter comes with the normal wires that go straight to the pump, so that part was kind of easy. It's literally just a couple connectors. I hooked up 5 wires in the inverter box. That was a done deal. Got everything connected, came out here, turned on the power switch, and the pump lit up. It took about 5 minutes, it did some blinky things, and then it started running. It was great. So time-wise, it took me the better part of a month doing this part-time. Whenever first was pick a spot for panels, and then digging the trench. That wasn't super bad. Digging the driveway part, that sucked because I had to do it all by hand in a pick, break up the driveway. Oh yeah, project's not done because I still got to I got to put back in asphalt when I'm done. So there's another added cost. I'll probably have another $100 in asphalt to patch that back up. And I want to do this when I was mid-project running, but everything's still exposed because it kind of gives everybody a better idea instead of just pointing. It goes in the ground here and it comes out there. You guys can actually see what it takes. So yeah, it took me about a month to do this. We're in March of 2021. I'm gonna do a video in August to see how well the actual pool pump works. But this video, there's not a whole lot about their off-grid solar pool pumps that people do that give enough information, so I'm trying to bring the information I can think of. If you guys have questions, great. Put in the comments. I'll get back to it and kind of give you an idea of what it took if you have specific comments or if I'm not very clear on something. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. This has actually been kind of fun to do this. I've been wanting to do this for about 2 years now. And oh look, the mini excavator just showed up. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the one I dug with this. So I gotta go grab that. Alright, one last thing. I actually sat down and penciled out what it cost me to do this whole DIY project. And I'll post a picture of that at the very end. Apparently it cost me $1,519 plus some tax on some of the stuff. The other stuff was tax-free. So $1,500 out of pocket. Remember, I bought the panels 2-3 years ago, so there's $400 old money, so I didn't have to pay up front this time. So that's roughly, I had $1,100 I had to come up out of pocket this year to do this project, plus tax, obviously. So generally, it uses my pool pump. My old pool pump was roughly $100 a month in the wintertime and more in the summer to run it. I'd run it 2 hours on high and about 4 to 6 on low in the wintertime and 6 to 8 hours on low in the summertime with a 2 high. That way it got initial good cleaning and then it just slowly circulated to keep everything filtered. So if you want to average, we'll just say average $100 a month is what I spend on electricity to keep the pool clean. So $1,500 divided by $100 a month, that's going to take me 15 months to get my return on investment back to where it's actually costing me $0 to keep my pool clean. And I saw some guy on YouTube, he says he had one of these BLDC pumps. It lasted 7 years. Well, if this one lasts 7 years, that means I'm going to get 5 years of free pool cleaning. And if the pump goes bad, I'm pretty sure technology will have gotten better in the next 5 to 7 years. And I can get me another pool pump, and hopefully it'll be a plug and play kind of deal. And we'll go from there. Yeah, it'll be amazing. All right, guys, it's been great. I'm glad I made this video. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've been thinking about it for 2 years to try, and I finally pulled the trigger and did it. So hopefully we can get some more people out making videos and putting in off-grid solar pool pumps and saving money. Thanks. Everybody have a good one.